Okay, I'm going to try to walk you through how to make the basic structure for the Tinkercad house. Obviously, you can modify what I'm doing to make it match the house you're interested in. This is the house I'm trying to model, so I'm doing kind of a main sort of rectangular prism with another elevated rectangular prism coming off of it. It's going to look something like this, and then we're going to hollow that out. All right, so this is what I want to show you how to make. All right, so I'm going to do a new 3D design. All right, since I'm doing a rectangular prism, I'm just going to grab a box and put that in. And then I kind of like this menu right here to just set up the 3 dimensions, length, width, and height. And I'm really just going to kind of eyeball that off of here. And obviously I can't see, let's call it, I can see the width and the height of the house, but I can't really see the length of it, how far back it goes. So I'm just going to use some of my own intuition on that. So let's start with the width. Let's try 100 to start with. All right, so that's probably wider than I wanted. Let's shrink that down to, let's see what 80 looks like. Okay, we'll do that for now. All right, let's change the length. I do think it's going to be longer. What does 100 look like? I'm just going to try to change my view, get a sense for the proportions. Yeah, so this doesn't look quite right. Let's make this a little bit taller. All right, it is a 2-level house. I don't know. I feel pretty good about those dimensions there. I think once I changed the height and doubled it, it looked a lot better. So you could find your picture. You could actually take a ruler out and measure, right, and make it proportional to that. Or you could just kind of eyeball it up till you get a shape you like. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and change this color while I have it open. And so I want to go somewhat dark. I don't think I want to go completely black. This is a lighter gray, and then this is a darker one. So I might go. All right, I think I'm going to go this medium gray now, and then I'll make the additional box that darker one. Okay, now I'm basically going to repeat that to add this sort of second box that's hanging off of it. So I'm going to pull this in. So the one thing I know, right, is I've got the dimensions here of this box: 100 long, 80 wide, 40 height. Okay, so I want to make the height of this half of that, right? Because it's basically, for my design, it's one level. And I'm going to keep it simple. I think you could argue that it's actually like, it's kind of a, looking at the picture, like it's a little bit bigger. So I could make that a little bit bigger, but let's keep it simple and just say it's half of it. And then in terms of its width, it's about, let's say 3/4 of the width there. So if this is got a width of 80, let's make this a width of 60. Okay, and then the depth of this, or sorry, the length, let's just try doubling that to start. What does that look like? Yeah, I'm surprised how wide it looks again across the 80. Let's shrink this down. Let's see what 40 looks like. All right, I think that's a little bit better. Some of this is just I'm going back and forth between the flat or orthographic view and the perspective view. So in the flat view, it kind of looks, you know, here it literally looks like half, or if I go with 60, looks a little bit better. But as soon as I change it to perspective, right, it looks almost the same width because it's out front. Let's split the difference and call it 50. Okay, now I want this to be elevated, right? This box here is off the ground. And so I'm going to grab this cone here and pull that up. And I want to pull that up. It should be 20 units. Right, the total height is 40 and this is 20. And now as I'm looking at it, like you see that gap there, I think that's just because we're currently in a perspective view. But if I change to the I am surprised. Oh, there we go. So if I do a straight ahead front view, I can see that it is in line. So that's worth keeping in mind that in an effort to make a 3D model on a 2D plane, it doesn't always look exactly the way you would expect. Like we would expect this to be right in the corner. There we go. Okay. All right, let's pause there. Let's go ahead and change the color on that. We said we'd go with the darker black. And now I can just kind of click and drag this and get it into the corner. I do want to show you the align tool, which I'm still learning myself. So let's go ahead and have a go at that. So I'm going to click and drag a window over both of my shapes. You see here it says I have two shapes selected. I'll select align, and then I just kind of look at what each box will do as I hover over the circles. Let me zoom out a little bit. So I think that one, what does this one do? Definitely not that one. All right, so this is getting the height. So I definitely want it up here, right? This will bring it down to the midway point. This will bring it down to the floor. So that gets it aligned. So the tops are aligned. And then this will align it in this direction here. So I want to be on the edge there. All right, and that's perfect. All right, so we're going to lock it like that. Let's just change my view here. Okay. I'm sort of questioning the proportions, but let's not let perfect be the enemy of good enough, right? We're going to be fine with this. Okay, so now it's time to put these two shapes together. So they're not two independent things. We're going to group them together. So if you haven't yet, you really want to make sure you nail your colors before you group them. Once you group them, you're not going to be able to edit the individual colors. Okay, so I can still click on this. I can come over here and I can give it a totally different color. But once I group it, I will not be able to edit the color anymore. All right, so I'm just going to highlight these two again. So I click and drag a window over them. I've got both shapes, and then I'm going to use the group button here. Okay, and it puts them together as one shape. All right, now I'm looking at it and like, what happened to those colors? We just selected. It's okay. If I select it, right, I do have some options with colors. I can change the whole color of everything. All right, or if I select multicolor, it goes back to the original colors I had selected. All right, but I'm not sure that I can change the individual colors of these anymore because it now treats it like one. All right, that's why it's important to get those colors ahead of time. Okay, our next step is we need to hollow this out, right? Our home can't be a solid block. There needs to be space for people, for furniture, for all that stuff that goes inside a home. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a second shape here. So we're going to use the duplicate tool. So I'm going to click on this, right? Now it's one shape, so I don't have to click and drag window. I just click on it, and I use the duplicate tool. And basically what it is it created another one of those, and it's sitting right on top of it. So you really can't even see it because they're sitting like the new one is sitting in the same place the original one is. All right, but if I grab this box here for the height, I'm just going to make it taller. It doesn't matter how much taller, let's make it 60. All right, I just want it to be taller than the original so that I can tell what I'm working with. All right, and then my next step, I'm going to just go through these 4 black squares here. Basically, it's let's call it the footprint of the house for how wide and how long it is, right? So we're seeing 80 wide and 140 now long. It was 100 originally, then we added this extra 40 to it. So I'm going to go around and shrink those dimensions by 1. Just kind of, let's go around. Maybe we'll start here essentially at 12 o'clock and go around clockwise. So what I like to do is I just click on this dot, and that keeps that dimension there. And I can just click on it and type in my new dimension. So it was 140. I'm going to press 139 and enter. Okay, then let's go to this one. This will be the width. So it's currently 80. Let's shrink that by 1 to 79. Come over here. Remember, it was 140. We shrank it to 139. We're now going to shrink it to 138. And you don't want to just click on this one and shrink it to 138 because that's going to just shrink this side by 2. So it's important that you do one side by 1 and then the other side by 1. Okay, so let's make sure I get that enter there. And then this one was 79. And so same thing. We're going to change that to 78. All right, and so if we look at the top view and we go to now we're on the orthographic flat view, you can kind of see we have this. Although looking over here, I wonder if I screwed it up. Well, we'll find out in a second. If I did screw up, that's okay. We'll just Control Z and redo. All right, but we're looking for this basically like a wall going around. Okay, so the reason we raise that height is so we can make sure we are selecting the correct object to turn into a hole. So I'm grabbing the taller one, right, the one I changed, and we're going to change to hole. Okay, and let's see what that looks like now. Yeah, see, I'm not sure that I got it. Maybe I did. Yeah, it looks like I've got a wall going around there. Okay, I think we're fine. Okay, so it basically turned, it kind of disappeared all the volume that second shape had made, and it carved it out of the first one too. And so to finish things up, like just to clean this up, we're gonna basically have 2 shapes here now. So we're gonna click and drag a window over both of them. I've got 2 shapes. We're gonna group them together. Okay, and there is my basic floor plan with my wall going around. Now this one here, right, you don't see all the way down to the blueprint floor because that one is raised, so you're just seeing down to the floor. So that's actually perfect. Okay, and that is it. As far as making the basic shape of your house, to come later, we'll add some features, particularly windows, and then we'll need to put a roof on here. But that's it for now.